There is talk that Perry Como used this bloodline storyline as the inspiration for his timeless anthem, Magic Moments, because Roman and the lads are providing bare amounts of those things, bare amounts of them. The latest magic moment took place on Friday's SmackDown as Solo Sikoa looked his brother Jimmy in the eye and thumbed him in the neck, once more proving that he's more loyal to Roman Reigns than a big dog would be to their owner. As is becoming the norm for the big developments in the bloodline saga, this latest segment took us on a ride and we didn't know which way it was going to go because both options for the outcome, whether it be Solo joining his biological brothers or Solo staying with his manipulative cousin, who he knows, Roman Reigns this is, he's knackered if he loses Solo Sikoa, so it's merely keeping him relatively happy for his own benefit. Both those outcomes, they made sense. But as with this storyline, as we live through the Triple H school of subtle wrestling booking, the clues have been laid out in front of our eyes rather than being hammered into them. Here are the three main reasons Solo Sikoa thumbed his brother in the neck. The first of these clues appeared in the weeks surrounding Solo's arrival in the LSD-ridden, colour-spew home for the gimmicks that wrestling forgot that was NXT 2.0. We were told that the NXT shed was the perfect battleground for this street champ from the islands as we looked at his tattoos while he punched a punch bag many times with his own fists. During one of these promos, Solo tells us, "You see, one day I was walking with those down since day ones, but now I'm walking alone. It don't matter if I have someone with me, I was always by myself." It's got to be the main reason the guy is called Solo. It's not as if he's always been by the side of the Usos going by the name Trio Sikoa, is it? There were more references to being alone during those early days in NXT, being cast adrift as we learned something unspecified and rarely touched upon in storyline happened between Solo, Jimmy and Jay. Jay and Jay went off to the bright lights of WWE while Solo was left alone fighting on the streets of the island of relevancy before the island knew it was relevant. On SmackDown, of course, Jimmy especially was making a big deal out of the word brothers and what it meant, and Solo initially turning his back on Roman, who isn't his biological brother of course, made all the sense in the world. But it's this thing that happened between Jimmy, Jay and Solo back in the day that made Solo clearly think, you know, I love me brothers, I do, but business is more important and the sole reason why I am here. Solo's business is more important than Solo's brethren because it is the sole reason that Solo is on the main roster to begin with. Go back to the NXT 2.0 days of Solo Sikoa and the gimmick of the street champ was man who roamed the streets looking for a fight with anybody who fancied it. But after Solo cost Drew McIntyre a 3 count in that Clash at the Castle main event last September, a special reason for Solo doing what he did was soon revealed. Back on the September 23rd edition of Friday Night SmackDown, a night will be remembered by many for Sami Zayn finally receiving his honorary Us t-shirt during the Bloodline's acknowledgement ceremony. Paul Heyman was the one who revealed that Solo was making the save because it wasn't a play called by Roman Reigns. In fact, Solo had been sent by the elders of the Samoan dynasty to protect Roman's championship reign. Solo has one job that hasn't changed all these months later, and that's to protect Roman's reign. Seemingly, no matter how much of an arsehole Roman Reigns turns into. During that same promo, we hear Roman saying to Solo, "The elders may have sent you, but you answer to me now." But as we've seen since, surely this is Roman saying something he wouldn't be saying if the elders were present. Solo was sent by the elders and therefore will do what the elders say and not what Roman wants. Throughout this entire 1,000 plus day title reign, the titles have almost been secondary in Roman's obsession with controlling those around him, but with Solo hanging there above his head like a succulent street fighting pinata, dangling from a piece of string in the hands of Afa and Sika, and maybe even The Rock if we wanted to go that way, it shows that we have learned that Roman isn't really in control of anything, with the bloodline starting and ending and the decisions being made by those at the top, and what they want to see, that's what really goes. I think it's a massive reason why Roman looked so vulnerable when he butted shoulders with Solo back on May the 19th on SmackDown. Roman is terrified of losing Solo and knows that ultimately that could happen at any time because of those who are actually pulling the strings strings in the background, and it's Solo's respect for the entire concept of the bloodline that gives us our third main reason for him teasing to join his brothers, take down Roman before a deadly thumb to the neck of Jimmy Uso said no, no, no. The May the 12th edition of SmackDown once more saw a couple of crucial developments for Solo's character without shouting from the hilltops, look at how these things relate to Solo and further his character and this entire bloodline thing and whatnot. The night started off with Roman cutting a promo about the bloodline's problem not being Sami and Kev after everything that has gone on since the night of the Royal Rumble of this very year, but the problem being the Usos. Roman made Jimmy and Jay apologize for their failures while he was away, including that big loss in Puerto Rico. This scene included a moment where Roman Reigns pushed Jimmy Uso in the face, showing the sort of abusive and manipulation tactics that have left Jey Uso acting like Tweak from South Park. You can see the look on Solo's face in the background there. The bloke loves his brothers. We've said this before, but the bloke loves his brothers and wants to do something about it, but has been sent to do one job by the people he respects the most, so he does absolutely nothing about it. And then we see Roman say at Night of Champions, Solo and I do what we always do. We represent. We hold it down for the bloodline. I dedicate that victory and our tag team championship reigns to the greatest tag team of all time, Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans. The match at Night of Champions was literally dedicated to Alpha and Sika, the fellas who presumably sent Solo to protect Roman's reign on Raw and on SmackDown and everywhere else. So guess who Jimmy and Jey Uso pissed on when they got involved in that Night of Champions match? Roman, yes of course. Solo, yes of course. But because the match was literally dedicated to their honor, Alpha and Sika were pissed on as well by Jimmy and Jey Uso, once again giving Solo more reason to piss back on them when he was given the chance on SmackDown. Solo was literally fighting for the elders there, and his chances of winning that match, not only for himself but for them as well, was spurned by Jimmy and Jay. And that's how we find ourselves on last week's SmackDown, where Solo did to Jimmy and Jay what Jay did to Sami on Monday Night Raw all those weeks and months ago. The bloodline are using their own tricks against each other now, but with the way things are set up and those elders hanging around in the background doing the things, pulling the strings, all the stuff they're doing, without our knowledge, this thing could still end up going either way. Solo acknowledged his tribal chief in that segment on SmackDown. He made it look like he was going to the other side by saying, but these two are my brothers, before he thumbed one of those brothers, called Jimmy Uso of course, right in the neck. It's the little look from Roman Reigns before Solo delivers that spike that tells you the job that Solo was sent to do by the elders is still the thing he has to do, whether he wants to or not. I'm sure there will be more reasons down this long and troubled road as to why Solo Sikoa is staying loyal to Roman Reigns instead of jumping over to the Usos that I have missed. So please let me know what they are in the comments down below, and also let me know where you think this storyline is going to end up. Could it be that Solo Sikoa is being readied to be the guy to end Roman Reigns' 7,000-day championship reign by the time we get to that Solo versus Roman matchup? I've been Tweddell from Cultaholic Wrestling, and bye-bye, and a thumb to your neck as well.